What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, your authentic football fan channel made in Manchester. And this is your Thursday night transfer show. We are going to be discussing Matthijs de Ligt. With Xerxes done and dusted out there, we've done the video on him. Here we go. It's time to focus on the next ones without him even doing his medical yet. That's how quick we're moving. So we're going to talk about de Ligt. We're going to talk about Collier's new deal, a young prospect at United. Could he be the next one to break into the team? And speaking of people breaking into the team, we're going to discuss Kobbie Mainoo's performances in the Euro. And we're also going to do something interactive towards the end as well. But before we do that, as you can already see on your screen, we have a very special guest. He's not been on in a hot minute, but I always love doing shows with him. Come a long way from Statman and Robin, if you remember them ones, for all the OGs. How are we doing, Adam?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Nick?
Are you asking me how I'm doing?
Yeah.
No one usually does that. I'm all right. I'm all right. My brain scrambled as we was chatting off thingy. But yeah, talk to me. Your experiences. You've been traveling. I think people want to hear more about that than they want to. He's been diving. He's been fucking. He's a man of many talents, Adam, aren't you?
Not winning penalties with the diving anyway. No, it's underwater. But no, I've been up and down Ireland. Probably the most south you could go in Ireland, and probably the thickest accent. Honestly, if you heard the accent, you wouldn't understand a word.
How did it sound? Can you do an impersonation of how people from the south sound?
Oh no, that's a bit more Northern Irish.
Being your bonnet. That sounds like Northern Irish.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of it. It's like trying to exaggerate my accent, but multiplied by 20.
Isn't it weird how, like, literally by moving 20 miles down the motorway or something, an accent can completely change? So over Manchester, we are going to talk about football in a moment, but just to pause that a second. to go from Manchester to Liverpool, and it's probably like a 20-minute, 30-minute card, and the accents are so different, it's ridiculous. Like, I don't understand how that... I don't get how accents work me. I don't. It's a bit of a bizarre one. Like, the thickness in the change.
And how the two accents, the Scouse and the Manc, are just nearly the polar opposite. They don't sound anything alike. They don't. Yeah. And just short distance, as you said, only down the road it is. It's mainly noticeable in England and Ireland. I never actually noticed it abroad whenever I've kind of traveled, and I have typically travelled around countries, but I never really noticed. But maybe it's more noticeable when you're from there and a native speaker, I suppose.
Yeah. It's one that's always intrigued me, because I think how can it change so much when it baffles me. You could probably do a whole podcast on it, and maybe we'll save it for an after dark. But one person who's not going to have any issues, Adam, with accents or languages or anything, is Matthijs de Ligt. Do you know why? Because he's fluent in English, he's fluent in Dutch, he's fluent in German, and I think he's fluent in Italian as well. So he's well-rounded. He's got a few feathers in his cap. Now, Justin, United and Bayern Munich are in advanced talks over the transfer of Matthijs de Ligt. De Ligt has informed Bayern that he wants to join United with immediate effect. Verbal agreement between United and de Ligt about a long-term contract is done. Agent Rafaela Pimenta is now working on the final details to get the deal done and sealed. Medical is not booked just yet. Now, like I said, you haven't been on it for a while, Adam, so I'm curious to get your opinion on Matthijs de Ligt. What are your thoughts? Because a few of the lads on this channel have had different takes on this one.
It's look, you can see the positives, you can see the negatives. We let Rafa Varane go, mainly due to the wages, but I know his injury record wasn't the best either. And de Ligt's injury record also isn't the best when you kind of look at it. But what you get, and what we will be getting, is you're getting a very experienced, I suppose, youngster as it is. He's been at some of Europe's top clubs. He's won trophies along the way. He's worked with Ten Hag, so he knows how his system works. So for me, there's a lot of positives in this. And if you can keep him fit, and if you can keep him, I know it's a big ask given what happened to us last season, asking for a player not to be injured. I think we're going to be getting a really, really good deal here. But it does kind of remind me of the Varane deal as well. And I know some people are saying, "Oh, was that a success or not?" We did win a trophy along the way, but it was around a similar fee, I think. Wasn't Varane around 40 million? I think that's been the quoted fee. Yeah, so it does kind of remind me of that deal. But If we can get the best out of him, we're getting a rock solid centre half, and I think we're going to be getting the perfect Lissandro partner as well.
Yeah, it's it does conflict some opinions from what I've seen and from people who I've spoken to. Some people like red flags. Initially, before we found out about his wages or anything like that, it was like his wages are going to be massive. He's had the same knee injury, I think, a couple of times, which I think Varane had knee injuries, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
He's worked with Ten Hag before. They're making all these kind of links. But then you look at the other side of it, 24, like you said, very good age profile. Him and Lissandro, like, similar. Both no Ajax, no Ten Hag. No, that relationship and chemistry should be there. Have you read what the Bayern Munich fans said about him in the statement that they put out?
Oh yeah, they're looking. They don't want him to go. They don't.
No, they was like, this is a world-class defender. He's got everything. We really don't want him to leave. And I think I've mentioned this before. Again, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but from when he went from Ajax to Juve to Bayern, he had 3 different managers at Juventus. So we had Sarri, Allegri, and Pirlo, and Bonucci and Chiellini were kind of looking down the nose at him. I don't know why I did that, but it's fitted. Chiellini's got quite a big nose, to be fair. And then Bayern Munich, they've also had a lot of, instability in that sense. So I actually think this could go down. Again, do come back at me on it. I think it could go down as a very shrewd signing for 42 million. If he turns out to be the player that a lot of people think he is and capable of, it could be a massive signing, couldn't it?
It could be, especially for that price. I don't know where you're going to be getting someone of that age profile with that experience for that price. Yeah. Who's also played at the biggest stage as well. I know there are question marks like, oh, why wasn't he, if he's this good, why wasn't he starting at the Euros and all that? But from what I've read as well between Dutch fans and that, they're saying that Coleman has his favourites, and I suppose Van Dijk and was it De Vrij? I think, yeah, those were his 2 starting centre halves, and he didn't want to budge from that. And this is a man who was a well-known centre half as well. So I suppose he likes stability in that. But maybe he's someone who should have probably started along the way as well. Given who was it that Ollie Watkins turned for that goal, the winner? De Vrij. There you go.
Exactly.
Who knows? Yeah. So I think for what we're getting, it could be very smart business, and it doesn't seem to be stopping there. It seems to be that we're looking at multiple centre halves.
Oh yeah.
So I'm really, really liking what's coming out this summer.
Yeah. The argument with nations and international teams, I never really got that, because it's like you've seen so many talented players. I mean, Cole Palmer can't even get a kick of a ball for us in England team, and he's one of the most talented players in my opinion in the league. You look at the season he's just had. So international teams, it's very weird. They don't always pick necessarily the best players who should be on them. Like Lissandro wasn't starting at centre back for Argentina for so long. It was Otamendi who's playing in the Portuguese league, and then is it Romero? Otamendi and Romero, I think, starting as a partnership.
I think Otamendi and Romero.
You're right in that. It doesn't always just mean that he's just because he's not starting for Netherlands. It's just the coach's preference, whatever that is. And obviously, you would like to think, because De Ligt's worked with Ten Hag before, he will get the best out of him. You've seen situations, haven't you, where a player's gone and worked with a previous coach, or Tuchel with previous players, with Rudiger, let's say, for example, has done well. So I think that bodes well, personally. Do you think he's the starter alongside Lissandro?
That's the thing, because I know there is a lot of talks with other centre halves. You have the likes of I'm trying to remember his name again. It's just gone out of my head there. Is it Yori? Lenny Euro. I don't know why I couldn't remember that.
But the likes of him,
and then there's almost. I was just getting them mixed up.
Yeah.
But you have we've had a bid accepted for him apparently as well. And I don't know if that will happen. I don't think it will. I don't think he'll push for it. But on paper, you'll be expecting De Ligt to start, because he's the ready-made player he is, and Lissandro's that as well. So I think that's the back four. If you have a fit Luke Shaw, I know it's a big ask. He's one of the best, I think, left backs in the world when he's fit. With him, you have De Ligt, and then Lissandro, and then I think Dallo as well, and that's a really, really good back four. And I can't remember the last time we actually said having a good back four, particularly last season, because it was chop and change. So I'm just hoping that if we get him, it'd be a consistent run, like not chopping and changing. We don't want to see that.
Injuries is the thing that would concern me.
Mm-hmm.
That is one thing that would concern me, because Lisandro, I'm praying to God. I mean, he's doing all right for Argentina at the minute. He's absolutely smashing it. He's been, one of their best players in the Copa America. So I'm praying he can stay fit, because if he goes out again, let's say De Ligt picks up a couple of niggles here and there. It's his first season at the club. We know what Luke Shaw's like, so it's like, do you really want an inconsistent back four again? And that's probably why they're looking at Lenny Yoro or Branthwaite, because you can't just rely on them to stay fit, like, judging off, injury history. So we need as much depth in that area as possible. And I think one thing I mentioned on the Xerxes video before, I was speaking about the age profile of certain teams. So if you look at Arsenal, for example, their average age is, I think, is about 24. So they've got like Saliba, Gabriel, Ben White, Saka, Martinelli. Look at all their ages, about 21 to 24. And then you get a sell-on, by the time the contract runs out, or you keep hold of him. So there's longevity in that. Do you know what I mean? So what I'm saying is we need to start bringing more players like this who are of that age, like Ugarte, De Ligt, these kind of guys, and then you bring that right down then, instead of having your Casemiros and a 35-year-old fucking Cavani and a 31-year-old Igalo and all this kind of stuff. So youth seems to be the way Ineos are going at the minute, doesn't it?
It is, and all the top teams seem to be doing it. You have, even Man City have a very young age average now. Like Rodri, you think the guy is probably in his nearly early 30s.
Yeah.
He's actually relatively young. He's a lot younger than that.
I don't know how old he is. I have no idea how old Rodri is.
I think he's only like 26.
29?
Or something like that.
Is it? Is he 26? Let's have a look.
Yeah, this is actually...
still, you would... 28. Yeah, you're correct. 28. Yeah, 28. So that's just going into his prime. That is fucking scary. Yeah.
So it goes to show, like, when you have these players for multiple years and they are performing, like, you get them into their prime then. And if you have, like, multiple players, like, that's what Man City have right now as well. Arsenal will get that, which is why I think there'll be a threat maybe in the next... I think they may win the league in a year or two if they keep what they're doing. And with Pep and now Klopp leaving, I think that kind of may open the door to switch, which is why hopefully... Ineos can kind of see that and maybe start preparing us for that. I don't expect, like, we're going to be challenging for the league next season. It could be like another maybe 2-3 years for that. And people don't want to hear that. They don't. Yeah. But you need to invest in the youth. And that's why you need to invest in the youth, because I think there's is it a Chinese proverb? The best time to plant a tree was a couple of years ago. The second best is today.
Now.
So is now, and I think we need to start planting the trees now.
Yeah, see that it doesn't just bring football knowledge; it brings fucking philosophical quotes as well. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And I think they would have just looked at the last 10 years and it would have gone, right, who's the typical signings that they've gone for? Falcao, Di Maria, Cavani, Ronaldo, Alexis Sanchez. Like, the list is endless, and they've gone. Yeah. How on earth is there a contingency plan or a plan for the future when you're bringing in players like this? Because sure, it'd be great. Like, bringing Ronaldo back was amazing. It was a fairy tale story. Yeah. But you saw what happened after a year. Things started to fucking crumble and crash down. And you see what happened even at the Euros with Portugal. Like, they probably shouldn't have even taken him, to be honest. So there's no longevity in it. And I think that's absolutely the way that United need to go. And I think that kind of kicks us into our next story, Adam, with Toby Collyer, who's just signed a new deal at Manchester United until 2027 with an option of a further year. We've seen one thing with Ten Hag, I think we both agree on this, is the way he develops players is really, really good. You look at Mainoo, who again we're going to speak about in a minute, Garnacho. Has it surprised you, one, how good them two have become and how almost senior they look in the team under kind of Ten Hag's vision? And then who do you expect? Is anyone you got your eye on to come through next at all, or do you follow the youth academy that close? And I mean, I'm not sure.
It surprises me that they're regular starters at this point. I didn't expect them to be, I suppose, get as many games, particularly Garnacho. But what's happened now is we haven't really had much options there, so they've played their way in. and their form has kept them in the team as well, especially when players have come back. I am surprised at how senior Kobbie Mainoo is looking, and I know we'll touch on him later.
We'll talk about him.
We'll talk about him. But that's probably one of the deciding factors why Ineos decided to keep Ten Hag and extend his contract as well. Because how he develops these youngsters, he gives them a chance, he does. And he did, I believe he said a quote in the last week. He's like, we had Garnacho the other year, and then last year we had Kobbie Mainoo. So we're always looking to see who the next player will be. And
that's the benchmark now, isn't it? With Mainoo and Garnacho, that's the level. You got to play like that.
Exactly. And I think you players now know if you're good enough, you'll get a chance. And that also does kind of give them that next kind of step. In terms of, I suppose, players like coming through the academy, I know there's that young fullback, the left back. And Amas. I know we're not... Yeah, Amas. Harry Amas, isn't it? Yeah. And I have seen some clips like on Twitter of him, and like, honestly, given our left side, especially last season, I think he could be a player for the future now. I know he's still relatively young, but just getting a chance. Look at Kobbie Mainoo coming in. He's not necessarily the tallest when you see him on the pitch as well. He doesn't look the strongest either, but he carries himself like someone who's in their prime. And he's like, you've seen it against the likes of Rodri, you've seen it in the Euros now. I know we're going to touch on it, but like he just has the footballer's brain, and I just don't want him to get distracted. That's my biggest worry, is the distraction, which is why I think Ineos coming in might be a really, really good thing, because they're not going to just throw him up on 200 grand a week.
Yeah, it's the environment and culture around him, innit?
Yes.
That's the thing, absolutely. Sorry, I'm just going to go to the chat very quick because there's quite a few comments. Brian Casey, evening lads, hope everyone is well. Brian will be happy tonight. We've got a fellow Irishman alongside me, so he'll be buzzing. Candango says, we are waiting for the here we go with De Ligt. So are we, mate. So are we. Don't worry about that. Dino Lewis saying, Nick, I said the other day about Danny Olmo. Lo and behold, we are linked with him. My sauce cupboard is cooking. Yeah, he's on it. Dino Lewis there for Romano's mate. Hamza KD, hello, Dean. I hope you're doing well. There's people having a chat. One of the main positives about De Ligt, moved to Ajax and won the league, moved to Juventus and won the league, moved to Bayern and won the league. Ipso facto, 21 is coming. I won't go that far, but yeah, who knows. Crazy things have happened. TTM, Lissandro's injury record is very worrying. We really need quality cover for him. If it's a 3-5-2, we need to be in the market for serious fullbacks or wingbacks. We can talk about fullbacks for a moment, and then we'll talk about Kobbie Mainoo, because that situation is a little bit weird at the minute. We've got Dalot, who's going to be your main starting right back. We know that.
Yeah.
But then Wan-Bissaka's been linked with a move to West Ham. And then you have the left side where, sure, you don't know what's going on with his fitness. Malacia still isn't in training, by the way. He's still individually training.
Yeah.
So what do you do with those situations going forward?
I've seen us linked with, I'm trying to remember his name again.
Gutierrez?
No, we had him on loan from Spurs there. Reguilon, yeah.
Yes.
And probably a massive mistake letting him go last season, because we didn't have any kind of left side of fullback. We didn't for so long. We were playing Lindelof there, and that goes to kind of show. I know we were really in the trenches then. But going into next season, I don't know if it's a case of you bring a Mass in. I don't know if he's ready yet. Like, can take that 7?
Me and Sam have done a video on him and Shea Lacey, and we both said we think them two are the next ones to break through into the squad. Yeah. Amas, especially because, like we've touched on, the left back injuries, just and where do most youth players get the game time from? Injuries, isn't it?
From injuries, yeah, exactly. So maybe that's his avenue for getting in, and then I think he might save us a good bit of money coming into the future as well. Yeah. So that's what the kind of culture we want to kind of set, promoting these youngsters, actually bringing them in. We don't want to be spending the likes of, I know, upwards of 50 to 60 million. That's what the minimum price is these days for transfers. It's blown up so much. And like with financial fair play, we can't really be doing that. I think the financials came out and it kind of gives us a bit more of an edge now, I think it does. I was reading that vaguely on Twitter, but anywhere we can save now, having smart people running the show, instead of bankers, we actually have football and men. I think is always a good thing. So I think maybe promoting someone from the youth is the kind of way to go. And I think maybe Hamas, like bring him. Has he been doing much first team training actually?
Yeah. So he's been involved with him. Again, I don't know yet if he's to get a first team start. I don't think he has, or I don't know if he's featured off the bench, but he's been training a lot. So clearly Ten Hag sees something there. So that left-hand side, we might be okay. But the right-hand side, what do you do? Because Wan-Bissaka, I think, has got 1 year left on his deal. Dallow's going to be a starter, but then do you sell him for a small amount and then get another right back in? Or it's a tricky situation, that, isn't it?
It is, because I've seen it where... what was the fee for Wan-Bissaka? Was like 15 to 20 million, was it?
Yeah, around that. That's what they're trying to offer, but...
Yeah, and like, where are you going to get a fullback like that for that price? I always think having him there is a good option, because there was a period of time, it wasn't last season, but the season before, I think from around Christmas time to the end of the season, where he was so consistent. And I think having him as somebody who can come off the bench, when you have like it maybe a 1 or 2 goal lead, and then you're coming into the last 30 minutes, something like that, bring him on. He's perfect for that. For me, he's been the best one-on-one, I suppose, defender probably in the world. I've only seen him, I think, make one mistake and give away a penalty. And I think we were actually shocked that time he done that, because it was so out of character of him. But that's the point where it's like, can you make money on him now, sell him for that? Do we have the option for the 1 year? Usually we put that in to players' contracts, or have we already activated that?
I'm not sure on that. I think... I don't know, because sometimes you get ones that are like you can activate it and the player doesn't have a say in it, and the other one is the option where you can have a chat with him. But I think Wan-Bissaka is probably happy to see a year out from what I've read, and then just kind of take his pick of what club he wants to be at. But you can't do much worse than have a right back like Wan-Bissaka as your second option, can you? In terms of what he offers individually, you can't do much worse than that. So I don't know. I think that's going to be left until, like in the last transfer window, we had Amrabat and Bayern Day who came up in the last day, won it. I think that left back and right back things, if there's an option that comes up towards the end, it's something they'll take a look at. I don't think it's going to be an imminent transfer, in my opinion.
No, it's probably not a priority right now.
No. Right, should we discuss Kobbie Mainoo? Because I'm very excited to talk about this. Now, obviously, as a fellow Irishman, you probably wasn't as happy and jubilant as me to see England reach the final. But one thing you would have been is Kobbie Mainoo, how he's been performing this tournament. I'll read out some stats for you from last night, and then just whatever you want to kind of talk about, go about it. Kobbie Mainoo stats versus the Netherlands: 100% tackle win rate, so number 1 in that. Number 1 in 100% duels won. 100% long passes completed, number 1. 36 passes completed, 2 interceptions, 2 out of 2 tackles won, 1 key pass, 1 shot. And now, in 19 years old, going into his first Euros final. Mad.
It's insane. It's actually insane. Like those stats that you just listed out there, like I can't really remember a time when someone's had 100, like completely 100%.
He's got the best completion rate in the tournament. Do you know that? Out of everyone.
I didn't know that. I actually didn't know that. No, I was convinced it'd be some Spanish player now. Actually, given how I know they usually like possession, but that's actually insane. And it goes to show, like, wasn't Southgate didn't start him. He didn't play him for much. Was it the groups? And then the pressure kind of came, like, put this kid on. And then when he gave him the chance, he was the best player on the pitch.
Yeah.
And I know England haven't been the best to watch. They haven't been, I suppose, like, given the players you have, the talent that's there, you'd like to see a bit more entertaining football. But you are in a final at the end of the day as well. And it's a Manchester United youngster who's looking the most mature in that midfield of what many people have said, world-class Declan Rice, world-class Jude Bellingham, who's going for a Ballon d'Or. And the best midfielder in that is the 19-year-old from Manchester. So it goes to kind of show.
Yeah.
Like, I said it before we came on, I think he saved us 80 to 100 million.
Yeah, without doubt. And I also said to you before we came on as well, we had, so a couple of years who were in the chat in a minute would have seen it. on the TikTok or Instagram when we put the clip out, that we were saying we think Kobbie Mainoo is worth 100 million or 100. Like, if you look at the market, you've just been talking about how inflated it is and how crazy it is. If you're telling me right now a team comes in, like let's say a Madrid comes in or whoever, and they're going to offer 60 million or something, not a fucking chance. Not a chance. Not with the performances he's been doing. You look at his trajectory, the fact that he was playing, I think, October, it might have been November, he played a couple of under-19 games with England. To go from that to scoring in a final against Man City, getting man of the match performance, and being one of England's best players in the Euros is, I mean, it can't be understated, can it, how well he's actually doing.
Yeah.
One thing
it comes back to the saying, if you're good enough, you're old enough.
Yeah, exactly. I just think he needs the right partner alongside him in the midfield. Who do you think that would be to get the best out of him, do you think? What does he need? What kind of player does he need alongside him?
For me, he's that number 6, so I think he needs that more kind of defensive midfielder, that kind of rock to hold everything together. Give him the ball and let him do his work. Give it the ball to Bruno. Like, he even advances. I think if him and Bruno kind of drop to a similar kind of level, I know we like Bruno in the number 10, but if they're kind of level with each other, I think the chemistry that the two of them have is good enough.
And a 6, that's the way you'd go. So you go Bruno,
that's the way I go.
Kobbie. Who's your 6? Do you want an N'Golo Kante type? Do you want more of like a Rodri? Like, what prototype do you want in there? Like a ball winner or?
Yeah, I think for me, I will be looking for someone like Rodri, that kind of more physical, that ball winner. That's someone who I think we need. And I know we've been linked with Ugarte as well. Is he that sort of player? He's not, I don't think he's the tallest, is he?
He's not Rodri in terms of physicality and positioning. Maybe he's more. He's a little bit erratic. He's more Kante. He covers a lot of ground. He's very, he gets stuck in. Good in the tackle. Not bad on the ball. Very energetic. It's almost the opposite to Casemiro in that sense. So in our system, maybe that would work. But again, it's. I said to Sam the other day, you look at Arsenal, Declan Rice, you look at City, Rodri, Madrid, Tchouaméni, Cruz, these kind of players. Is Ugarte that quality?
It doesn't scream it right now, but I suppose I was going to say when Kante went to Chelsea as well, did he have that? But he did, because he had the Leicester City. Yeah. So he hasn't been, I know, performing to the levels like people have kind of shouted for at PSG, but I still think, like, if it doesn't work out at one club, it doesn't mean you're a bad player. We should know that the amount of players we've moved on who have had, all right careers, maybe not all of them, but I don't think you let one kind of bad spell dictate, your future. It's just about finding that you're finding your level again, because obviously if you were good enough to get to that level at one point, so if you can refine that. And I think these are the kind of players that I'm more excited about, players that that don't scream like, oh, world class, he's the player that you have to go for. You have to go for him. He's the ready-made product. Somebody who you can come in and develop a bit. And then why can't we develop the superstar for once?
Well, Rodri, no one had heard of Rodri really before City signed him. He weren't like this mega star that everyone knew about and he's going to be the best in the world. It was like they did a bit of due diligence and he was like, okay, this guy looks good in Spain. Brought him in and then has been the best DM on the planet, in my opinion. So you could argue as well, if Ineos were actually competent, and not Ineos, sorry, if the previous regime were actually competent, you look at England's midfield at the moment, it would probably be that right now, Mainoo and Rice. Because we got linked with him so many times, didn't we? Especially when they were all there, and all they wanted him. So you look at that now; it could have been that, but I don't know. I'm confident they'll find a partner for him who's can get the best out of him. Because if you can do that, imagine Mainoo's 19 right now. Imagine when he's 25, 26. That's the scary thing.
Exactly, and if he can keep this kind of consistent run up, and he can easily do it. Like, he can only get better. Things can only get better. You're 19. And he's nowhere near his prime yet, and he's playing at this level. So can you imagine when he is playing at his prime?
Yeah. Isn't it a song? Things can only get better.
Things can only get better.
Can only get better, Who sings that?
Yeah. Is it not her? Why do I think it's that? I forget his name. He does A Little Respect. What is it?
Things going on.
That's going to annoy me. I have to get
D Ream. Is that his name?
D Ring.
D Ream. That's what it says. Let me just listen.
Oh, not who I thought.
Hello. I'm waiting for the tune to kick in, just so I know it's definitely him. I know exactly the tune.
Yeah. D Ream.
Yeah, D Ream. Also a very weird name. Yeah, sorry, slightly off track there, but things can only get better, and you certainly hope so. I'm going to go to the comments, and then we're going to do that interactive thing. So people in the chat, make sure you stick around, because we're going to need you for that as well.
Oh.
Right, let's have a look.
Brian Cox on keyboard.
Is it?
For that song. Yeah.
Okay. You learn something new every day. My Damn United says, hi, folks. Late arrival again. Are we sure that that's not a 3-2-5 rather than a 3-5-2? I'm not sure what you're alluding to. That might have been... Yeah, we may have mentioned that before. Sorry if I've missed that. Superfly guy says, Shea definitely entered him. Shea Lacey will be the next one to break through. Dino saying, I wouldn't sell Aaron Wan-Bissaka, to be honest. Somebody comments. Abibi Deliso says, yes, United, I'm happy today. Transfer Dani Olmo, De Ligt, Sancho to change Chiesa. So, as always, what's a lot of signings? Is De Ligt here we go tomorrow? Probably not tomorrow, Callum. I'd probably say more early next week from reports that I've read. But that's next up on the list, I would say, who we sign. Mainoo has silk in his boots, ice in his veins, and magic in his brains. He reminds me of Xavi so much. I love that. A silk in his boots, ice in his veins, magic in his brains. Yeah, that's love that. Nick Knack saying it does, doesn't it? Nick Knack saying fair play to Southgate for putting Mainoo in the side. There's a lot of interest in Sancho deal to be done.
Took a lot of pressure that.
Yeah, and also Nick Knack with the musical knowledge in there as well. Thank you very much for that. Now, have you been watching the Euros closely, Adam? Be honest. Are you watching it?
I've been watching a good bit. I know the group. When I was watching the groups were a lot more entertaining than the knockout. I don't know if it's a case of more is at stake when you're at the knockout. But yeah, I've been watching this.
And the knockouts.
Exactly. Yeah, there've been a bit more reserve teams have been. I've watched France a bit, and they're actually awful.
They're so boring.
Yeah.
Did you see? There's a famous journalist in France called Julien Lorenz, I think, or Lorenz Julien.
Yeah.
I think he works for ESPN or something, and him and Brothwaite, or I can't remember the guy's name. He used to be an English footballer, and them two are at each other's necks going at it, because the English kind of guy saying, look, the amount of talent that France have, you lot have been fucking boring, mate. It's basically what he's saying. You've been shit. Like, the way you were setting up in that Spain game, you were so underwhelming. It was a little bit of surprise. I know they've done it in previous tournaments, but they've got it over the line, haven't they? So people can't really question it when that happens.
Yeah.
But in terms of actual games, it's not been great, has it?
No, and even in terms of goal scorers, who's the top goal scorer? Is it own goals? I think.
Yeah.
Is the top goal?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Goes to show, and then is it Olmo? Is it Dani Olmo?
Olmo, yeah, he's classed as a top golden boot because of his assist as well as his goals. It's like 3 goals and 2 assists, I think it is. Yeah.
It hasn't been that exciting in terms of people did find it exciting in the groups. They really did like it, but given when more is at stake, it's been a bit more just more boring. How teams are set up. I don't know if it's a case that people are getting bored where it's almost there's too much football. And the players are kind of feeling that. Maybe it was a thing of like when there wasn't as much football, you kind of appreciated it more. But then again, there was a really, really good was it Bielsa who said it? That team are now trying to play like Pep Guardiola the whole time, and it's just robotic. And that's the worry about these teams, especially you have someone like Bernardo Silva, who is now a system player. You see him for Portugal. He isn't nowhere near the levels he is when he's at City. And this is sort of happening. It's creeping into the national teams now, where you have these system players who can't work together. Like you have a load of big names, and maybe England have suffered in the past with that. You had all these big names that just didn't work out together. It seems like maybe things are working a bit more better now, but all the top teams are trying to play this possession-based football, and then it's boring to watch. I've always said it. Like, people talk about Pep, how he's revolutionized the game, all this, but it is boring. For me, it's always been boring. Like, for me, I prefer the games of, like, say, United, Arsenal back 2004. Like, looking at them from what I've seen, I know I was a youngster at the time.
We sound old saying that, don't we? You know, like when your parents go, "Oh, well, best or Maradona or like blah blah blah." It was much better back in my day. That's what we are sounding like now, saying like, back in the day when the days have gone of like Berbatov and Ronaldinho and these kind of players in the way they're playing at the minute, like the fitness levels and the pressing. It's just I understand Bielsa in saying that. To be fair.
You don't have any flair players anymore. You don't have any, like, these big long shots. Like, because if somebody was to take a long shot in Pep's team, he'd be screaming at them. He would be, "Why are you taking a long shot there?" Or these inverted fullbacks, all these sort of things. Gary Neville, like, even talks down about his career. I know he always has as well, but he was, for me, the best right back in the Premier League history. Like, his record tells it, and he was really, really good. His job was to defend. That was his job. But now the fullback has to, get balls into the box. They have to be pressing very high. They have to drop into the midfield now. I think it's all... It's bollocks now.
It's bullshit is what you're saying. Yeah. We've gone off on a bit of a tangent there. The reason why I asked initially was because I want to do 11-a-side Euro, so team in a tournament. Or let's just say we'll both fix a team together. Okay, so if you want to do that, then we'll go with it. Also, people in the chat who are watching behind the phones, laptops, cameras, whatever it is right now, join in. So whoever your goalkeeper, we'll do a standard 4-3-3. Whoever your team in the tournament is, in your opinion, there's no right or wrong answer to this. Of course, get them in. Get a list of goalkeepers, right backs, centre backs, left backs, midfielders, wingers, and striker who you think has been the best in the tournament. And again, it's all about opinion. There will be a difference in opinion. What keepers stood out for you personally, do you think, in the Euros, Adam? Who's one you watch and you think... Because quite a few of the lower teams are naturally facing more shots, but I think some of their goalkeepers have been really good.
I don't know his name, but the Turkish goalkeeper, he had a good few games. He did.
Milo or something like that, I think it is. Yeah. That save he did, was against Austria. Last minute. Oh, my God. Outrageous. I'd also throw the Georgian goalkeeper in there as well.
Yes.
Davash, I can't say his name. Davashele, I think it is. Something. So yeah, any of the big ones who you expected to perform well and stood out, or do you think keepers in general have been a little bit underwhelming in your opinion?
I think Costa's been all right as well for Portugal. I know they went out. Yeah, he pulled up 2 big saves in the penalty shootout. Pickford done a save as well in the penalty shootout. I don't know if he's been necessarily, amazing. Like, he's pulled up these massive saves, mainly because England haven't. I don't think you've faced that many shots. Have you been the best defensive team, or was that France? I think England.
Spain are the best defensive team.
Spain as well.
I think so.
Yeah. All right, so I know they have the best attacking, so they must have the best attacking and defense now.
Well, yeah, it explains why they're in the final, I suppose.
Yeah, that's a big ask now for England. I'd probably, for me, it's between Costa and the Turkish goalkeeper.
Okay, Costa. I'll go. I think Donnarumma. Someone mentioned Donnarumma in the chat as well. I think he's had a very good tournament again, and of course he won the last one, didn't he? In 2020, I think, when Italy won it.
He's captain now, isn't he?
He's what? Sorry.
He's the captain for Italy now. I think.
Yeah, I think so. I'll go Costa. We'll both agree on that. So we'll go Costa in there. Let me just delete that, just so we can put a team together. Right backs. Does anyone spring to mind? I mean, I could throw one out there. In my opinion, who I think has been really good.
Yeah, go throw one out.
Kimmich. I think Joshua Kimmich was really good for Germany, in my opinion. Again, it's a weird situation at Bayern. Like, when Tuchel came in, it just didn't rate him. He was always back and forth. He was trying different positions. And we talk about these modern fullbacks who can drop into midfield now and do jobs like in multiple scenarios. Joshua Kimmich is definitely one of them. And I thought he was decent.
Yeah, he did have a good tournament. And it's mad how Bayern, like Philipp Lahm retired and they got their natural replacement, the exact same player.
Hand in hand.
I've never seen a player so similar to someone like that. the transition, like in the midfield as well, can play midfield and can play fullback. He's a good shout. He is actually. I probably will go with him as well. I'd say.
Yeah. Okay, I like that. Right, we'll go to centre backs, and I have to throw one in there who, for the oldest player in the tournament.
Yes,
he was good. You have to admit it. Pepe was good, man, in that Portuguese team for his age. Obviously, I think going into the next tournaments, he's probably not going to feature. But given there was a circumstance in a game where he was up against someone rapid, who was it against? And it somehow, I don't know how he fucking did it. He managed to keep up with the attacking player. It was, who was it? Someone will know. Who's watching the chat? Pepe had a 1v1 race. Someone just booted it past him, and it was like 1v1, and he managed to scramble back. Someone will know. Someone will know. But there was multiple situations like that where he was good. Oh, Dino with a great shout as well. The Italian centre back, Calafiore.
Oh yeah,
Calafiore.
He had a good tournament.
Yes. I would probably. I would go with him as well. Anyone else you want to throw into the mix?
Looking at it, I suppose you have them who have been really, as we kind of discussed, probably the best defensive team as well. Either of the Spanish centre halves was Nacho and
Nacho's good shout. And
Nacho,
Lenormand.
Yeah, and I know they've had Laporte, but from what I kind of saw, I thought he didn't have really his best game against France.
Okay, interesting. Cisco. Don't know who that is, Dino. I know who Cisco is.
That's what I was thinking. I got a typo.
Oh, Saliba. Someone just mentioned there as well. I might have to put Saliba in there instead of Pepe. Sorry, Pepe. Saliba and Calafiore.
I think so. Yeah, I was thinking Nacho initially, but I completely forgot about the Italian centre half linked with Arsenal, as you said. Yeah, he did have a good tournament because I know people were kind of raving on about, Arsenal need this fella.
Yeah. So Costa, Kimmich, Saliba, Calafiore so far. Left back, I'd put in the hat Cucurella, and I hate Cucurella.
Definitely.
Hate's a strong word, but I dislike him as a player. I don't like him at Chelsea. I think he's always been poor. But for Spain, in this system, I think he's been pretty impressive. And hasn't put a foot wrong.
He has. Yeah, because I was watching that France game, and even the commentators were saying, like, I know his club form hasn't been the best, but he's been having an amazing tournament. I forget who the commentator said that was, but then it kind of made me think, kind of looking back, I didn't watch all the games for Spain, but from what I did see, he was always consistent.
Yeah, agreed. Make sure you smash like in the video, by the way. I forgot to mention that at the start. And subscribe if you are new. The Turkish left-back also was great. I agree. But Cucurella, in my opinion, has probably been the best.
We're linked with him, aren't we?
Yes, we are. Yeah, we're linked with him.
Yeah.
Correct. So that's one, again, towards the end of the window, potentially, that could happen. Now, the midfield three I know instantly, but I would like to know yours. Who would you go with?
I mean, it's hard to argue Kobbie Mainoo.
Yeah,
straight away.
That's one of mine. Mainoo's
I put Olmo as being starting in midfield too, hasn't he? Or
he has recently, but I would put another Spanish player in there. I put Ruiz in there over him. Fabian Ruiz has lit my eyes up. Like, I didn't realise how good of a player he was. I hadn't seen him much at PSG. And I remember Chivy mentioned him once on the show. He was like, we should take a look at this guy. For Spain, he has been phenomenal. He's been ridiculous. So I'd go personally Ruiz, but again, if you go, who did you say? Sorry, Olmo
initially, but I know he's kind of been starting on that right, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's
maybe
almost weird.
Yeah,
he can playing like loads of different positions, can't he?
Yeah. I'm surprised no bigger club has come in for him because his name has been up there for quite a bit of time now. It's not just because he's lit this tournament up. Like, I've heard the name mentioned a good bit. I think we found it kind of probably our right winger anyway. We have.
Yeah.
So who else would I have? I'm trying to think any of the French lads they haven't been amazing.
Rabiot was okay. I don't think he was a standout in there. I'm trying to think of
Chouameni for the yellow card, winning your money.
Honestly, I think I would go Rodri, Ruiz, and Mainoo. And people asking in the chat is 4-3-3. Yeah, that's what I'd do. Rodri, Ruiz, and Mainoo, and that's a good solid midfield three.
Yeah, I think Rodri. Given that they're in the final as well, and I don't. From the game that I did watch England play against the Netherlands, I thought Rice wasn't that great. I thought he didn't have the best games. And Bellingham's been quiet.
They've had moments like they've done. Bellingham's had his bits. Obviously, the overhead kick was absolutely huge in terms of significance of the tournament. But I think a few of them, Foden's been underwhelming. I think Bellingham's been pretty underwhelming for the most part. A few of them, Harry Kane's been fucking super underwhelming. For us, you know, you'd like to think if they turned up on the day against Spain in the final, on paper, England have a better team on paper, in my opinion. In terms of individual talents, but the way Spain play, the way they keep it ticking, and that's why the midfield, Rodri and Ruiz together, I'd even argue in the front three, Adam, you could throw Lamal in there, you could throw Olmo, you could Williams on the left-hand side for sure, I don't think there's been a better left winger than Nico Williams. How would you go about the front three?
Oh, it's difficult to actually say because I was like, okay, Olmo has to be in there. Obviously, most goals contributed in the tournament. But then from what I've seen of Yamal, he's been really, really good as well.
16.
So,
16 years.
And then
Can you imagine what you was doing when you was 16? I was on the park smoking.
I don't want to admit it here in front of the camera.
Exactly. But you can only, if people in the chat use your imagination, what he was doing at 16, this kid is going to start a final in the Euros against England at the age of, in fact, I think he turned 17 on Saturday. So at 17, that is madness, utter madness to be doing that at that age. And if he goes on to have a long career, he's going to smash every record, but there is, especially in international football, the way he's going, sorry. But I'll let you have this one, because you said Olmo, you said Lamal. You want to throw anyone else in there, go for it.
It's difficult. I do want to kind of put Kane in there. I know he hasn't had the best of tournaments, he hasn't lit it up, but he has scored some important goals as well. That the winner. I was genuinely thinking about it,
Oh, wow.
I think he scored like a big goal as well. Who were you playing? Went extra time. The header,
But in terms of
a big
overall
goal
performance, though.
Yeah, he hasn't been that great, and even though he's had a great season.
Standards. I know, like what he's done for Bayern Munich, the numbers that he's put out. I don't know. I would disagree with Kane personally. Even that the striker for is it Georgia? Is it? He plays in the French league. He was the top goal scorer in the group stages. I can't remember the guy's fucking name. He scored more goals, I think. Kane will be on 3 now, won't he? Because I think he scored a penalty, which he shouldn't have got, by the way. We should not have had that penalty. That was absolute bullshit, in my opinion. He scored a header in extra time, and I think he had another penalty, maybe. if
I just saw Musiala as well.
Oh, Musiala.
Yeah.
He's
had a good tournament.
Musiala has had a good tournament, but I think Williams has been better than Musiala. Just.
You know, when you're looking at that right wing position, it's a bit difficult to throw in because you have Yamal, you have Olmo who's going to play it there as well. And as you said, Williams, I think he's your starting left winger there. And then is there a natural striker that has been really, really good? I can't think of one.
Should we just put Musiala on the right?
Maybe, yeah. I'd put Musiala there.
Williams on the left.
Yeah. Williams on the left. And that leaves in the middle. And the thing is now, like, our team doesn't have Olmo, has the most goals and assists in the tournament. Yeah.
But Olmo's low, like I said, he's not got a strict position. He just kind of.
No.
I can't take Ruiz out. I'm not taking Mainoo out. Refuse to do that. Rodri sits there. Has Olmo been better than Musiala? You can have Olmo. If you have Olmo in there, throw Olmo in there. I'm all right with that.
I put Olmo in there.
Olmo? Okay, let's go Olmo.
Yeah.
Olmo on the right-hand side, again, can interchange. I think Gakpo's been good for the Netherlands, but Gakpo's better on the left than he is as a focal striker.
Yeah.
But then Williams on the left, so I don't think Gakpo gets in the team. As an out-and-out striker, I'll leave this to the chat. As an out-and-out striker, who has been the best striker at the Euros right now, in your opinion? Get it in the comments. Goulet. Oh, God, the Goulet. Yeah, he's been good. Cole Palmer's only played about 30 minutes, sadly. Gakpo, Morata. Morata's actually been good for Spain. He's not scored many goals, but he's been in terms of everything else
Kind of
apart
like
from
Giroud.
goals. Yeah, he's been good. He's been a focal point. He's pressed really well. Kane. No, I'm not having Kane. I'm sorry. I've watched England week in, week out. He's not been awful, but he's not been the best striker at the Euros. Definitely not. Charlie Malman saying best striker Morata. A few people going Morata. Is that what we're all going with?
It's looking like Morata.
Have you watched Morata a lot?
I've watched him a bit. Like I know it's kind of like what Giroud done for France. He didn't really pop. He hasn't been popping up with the goals, but he's been kind of linking that play up and actually being that focal point, as you said. Like even when they want to go long, I know they don't typically go long, but when they do, he's an outlet there.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go with that. I do agree what someone's just put in the chat there saying most disappointing striker, Ronaldo and Mbappe. I have to agree with that.
Yeah.
Have to. Ronaldo was, he was winding me up at times. He had that one game where he had about 7 free kicks. And I'm like, fucking hell, give it someone else, man. Let someone else have a shot. Jesus. Yeah,
let Bruno have it, like.
Yeah.
Like, Bruno's a good free kick taker, right? Like, I genuinely think, as harsh as it sounds, I think he's kind of holding Portugal back now.
He is. Of course he is. And we were saying it about United, like, when we were saying it in, like, I know he scored 17 goals or whatever it was, but he was a hindrance to the rest of the team. The rest of the team, it's him first. It's all about him. And when you take him away, it becomes a team game again. And I think you look at Portugal, you had Gonçalo Ramos on the bench. You had Diogo Jota on the bench. You had a few options in there.
Sure.
I know he's one of the greatest of all times, but it didn't work out, did it?
There has to be a time when you decide, okay, maybe it's time to hang up the boots. Or when you're at that point, you're playing in Saudi Arabia, you don't get called into major tournaments with your country anymore. Yeah. And I think they have better options now, like Gonçalo Ramos. I know he hasn't set the world alight at PSG in that, but I only remember for one. I know what you're
yeah. That was Qatar, and I know it? That was at the World Cup, I think, when that happened. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. We was waiting for the show to be derailed. There it is. There it is. It was always going to happen at World Cup. Yeah.
We're just waiting for Dan. If Dan was here, he'd be laughing now with the name.
He'd be chuckling. He'd be chuckling.
Yeah.
So, are you happy with this, Adam? Diogo Costa in net.
Yeah.
Kimmich, Saliba, Calafiore, Cucurella, back four. Rodri, Ruiz, Mainoo as your midfield.
Yeah.
Dani Olmo, Morata, and Williams. That's a full Spanish. We've got 2 Spanish midfielders, 3 Spanish forwards, and 1 Spanish defender in there, which is probably about right in it, considering the way they've been playing.
Yeah, how they played. Exactly, how they played. They've been the best kind of, I suppose, looking team in terms of watching them as well. It's been entertaining to watch. They've played good football. They've scored the most goals in the tournament, I believe, as well.
Probably, yeah.
And now they probably have the best defensive record too. So it is a tough ask for England, it is. But I think player for player, you do have a better team.
Yeah, agreed. I'll get a graphic out for that as well. And then, we'll have a couple of people voting on a few of the players. Now, we'll end with this question, because Dino's just put a question in for us, Adam. Quick question, lads. If Neves is worth 120 million, how much is Mainoo worth? I think it's on about João Neves. What if you just put a price in him right now on Kobbie Mainoo, what would he be worth in your opinion?
So how much would it take Real Madrid to come and take him out of Manchester?
Let's do 2, because we mentioned Garnacho before. How much is Garnacho worth right now, and how much is Kobbie Mainoo worth right now?
I think looking at Garnacho now, I'd say 80 to 100.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah. I think out of the 2, I know Garnacho's been in the team longer, but when you look at the 2, I think Mainoo is a lot better. He looks more senior. He does. So I think that's why his price tag should be a bit higher. And if they're quoting 130 for Neves, and like Kobe's doing it in the Prem as well, and now he's doing it in the Euros at the highest stage as well. It's difficult to put it there.
I think the release clause though for Neves is what Benfica have put as a release clause. So whether they'd accept less, I'm sure I remember reading something about Jean Neves, they'd accept like 10 mil less for him, so like around 90 or 80, 90, I'd probably say. Realistically, he's got to be three figures in terms of like he's got to be past 100 million, hasn't he? For sure.
Yeah, 110, something like that. I don't know why 110 was like, sticking out in my head. 120. Yeah. I think that's what he is, like 19 years of age, and if he can keep this up for another year, you're getting into that point where people are going to be interested then. I think, and they're like, okay, it's been a few months now, like, about a year. But if he's done it over the course of maybe 2 seasons, you begin to look at it now, okay, they have a player. And a lot of teams will be looking. I know Real Madrid they have a very young midfield to do, and they have that experience in there as well with Modric. He signed an extension, didn't he, 1 year?
Yeah.
And then they have the likes of, I know there's been a lot of talk about Camavinga leaving as well, but they have Camavinga, they have Tchouaméni, I'm trying to remember. Oh, they have, what's the name of that fella as well?
Valverde.
Valverde, yeah, exactly. And who's young as well. So maybe not them, but you could see the likes of Barcelona coming in. Well, like they'll activate another fucking lever or something, and or sell part of the stadium or a certain number of seats or grass for
do 10, 18
not that grass. I mean the grass.
At the new camp. You think of it like this: Bellingham went for 100 million. Declan Rice went for 100 million. Mainoo has been England's best midfielder and he's younger than both of them. So if for people in the chat, if you don't think Kobbie Mainoo is worth £100 million, you're smoking the grass that Adam was alluding to before. In my opinion, I think he's and I would never sell him, never ever sell him. I think he's the pinnacle player in that midfield. You look at Bruno's age, 29, 30 now, getting on a little bit. Mainoo is the one you need to build around in that midfield. No doubt in my mind. Yeah. I think that's a good place to leave it, to be fair. We've gone around the houses there with a lot of the topics and stuff. We've gone here, there, left, right, centre, up, down. Enjoyed it, as always, with you, Adam. Any plans for, you travelling anywhere else? Because you're usually doing something out there. Tickling fish. I'm probably doing a
dive. Yeah, I think I'm going to be diving now on Saturday. And I'm back down to... It's a place called Dingle. I know it sounds a wee bit sauce, but it's a place called Dingle. I'm down there in 2 weeks' time for, I think, 2 days. So looking forward to that. Should be good.
All right. Nice.
What about you? Do you have any plans now? Hopefully watching England win, probably.
Well, yeah, Sunday is obviously a massive day for England. I hope they can get it over the line. But as I said to you before we went live, I think the Spain team is so fucking good. Unless England take up another level to the performance, like it was okay against Netherlands, first half especially, it was really good. Yeah. But against Spain, you have to be like outrageously good. So I think Spain are going to win it, and if we lose back-to-back finals, that's going to be tough, man. That's going to be tough.
I know it was tough the last time, because given that it was in Wembley, it was literally perfect. The stage was set. It was, and that happened. So maybe this. Man. Yeah, sometimes you have to go through a bit of heartbreak to enjoy the good times as well. So maybe the good times will be coming.
Yeah, but then if you have double heartbreak, it's I can't even think. I don't want to think about it. But anyway, we shall leave it at that. Thank you very much, everyone. It's been loads of years in the live. Appreciate every single one. Always a good show when me and Adam are on, if I do say so myself. So smash a like on the video. Hit that subscribe button. We are getting closer to 5,900 subs, almost at 6K, which is amazing. Share to a friend. Drop us a follow on socials. And me and Adam will see you guys in the next one. Take it easy, people.
Yes. Peace.